Okay. Okay, whenever it goes blank, just let me know. Because sometimes it automatically goes. Okay. Guys, today we're doing chapter 6. Chapter 6, Advanced File and Services Storage. Today's date is, what is today's date? 25? So it's 25
September.
January.
September 2020.
Next week will be November. Next week will be November.
It is.
Yeah, doctor.
Sweet November. Where is it? Chapter
Here,
6,
come on.
Advanced File Services and Storage. Okay. Before that, what we did? We did backup and recovery. Before that, we did advanced DHCP. Before that, we did Active Directory sites and services. And before that, we did certificate services. Now, a quick review of last week. Last week, Active Directory infrastructure. So we came from advanced DHCP. One word for DHCP. One word for DHCP.
No.
Automatic IP addresses. Automatic IP addresses. Next time, when I ask you, so I want this to be fluent.
Automatic.
Assigning automatic IP addresses. Assigning automatic IP addresses.
You have to say assigning.
Yes. One word for DNS.
Name resolution.
Name resolution. That's good. One word for Active Directory.
Authentication.
Authentication. One word for WDS.
Window deployment.
Windows Deployment Services, automatic OS deployment.
West.
Huh?
Automatic.
OS deployment. It automatically deploys OS within the network.
Yeah.
So WDS is automatic OS deployment.
But only Windows operating system.
Only Windows operating system, yes. Automatic OS deployment, Windows only. Now, last week we discussed backup and recovery. If somebody missed it, I think videos are clear. You can go through those videos few times. Maybe slow first, then fast forward. You'll be able to understand all the concept, but you must go through the videos. Backup and recovery, we talked about few types of recoveries. We also talked about the retention policy and all, and there is a very, very clear step-by-step lab of backup and recovery. How do you back up your server, and then how do you recover it? In backup and recovery, basically it has recovery of files and folders, backups of files and folders. You can do backups of files and folder and then recover them. You can back up complete operating system, complete OS and recover them. You can also you can take system state backup and recover it. And other than that, you can do backups of here I'm gonna say backups of number one, file and folder, backups of computer, complete OS or servers, backups of system state data, and number four was specific apps or services. So I would say that again, please go through the labs and do the labs. Now you have the lectures recorded, also you have a lab recorded as well. If you won't spend time at home, it won't be you won't be doing justice to the time that you're spending here and the money you spend. Okay, so today we're doing chapter 6. Chapter 6 is also very, very important. I want you to log into server 1. I want you to log into SYDDC with the administrator account. So on this server, I want you to go and log in.
MAL,
Uh,
SYD,
Sorry, actually both of them. So you need to first log into SYD-DC and make sure you're logged in with Contuso/administrator account. Now at this point, it should be very clear to everyone what is the difference between not doing Contuso/administrator and doing just administrator. If you don't do Contuso/administrator, then you're not logging into domain. So that difference should be very clear. So I want you to log into this, and then I want you to just look at, today we'll be working in file and storage services. This chapter is about file and storage services. But the word here is advanced file and storage services. So on a server manager, I want you to go on file and storage services. Now within file and storage services on this server, if we look at the book has 2 lessons. So there are 2 lessons. Number 1, configuring file services. Lesson number 2 is configuring and optimizing. Both are important lessons. So lesson number 1 has few topics here that are important to understand. So lesson number 1 starts from file screening, then it goes to quotas, then it goes to server for NFS, branch cache, and then you have file classification, file access audit. So these are important, and these are very simple concepts. They are not difficult concepts, but you must understand that. Take notes as much as you can, and these are very, very simple concepts. So everything in this chapter is related to files and folders. Everything in this chapter is related to files and folders. The files and folders we have on a computer, on a network share. This chapter, it talks about files and folders, but advanced files and folders. So before I dive into advanced files and folders, let's first understand what is files and folders in a computer. So first of all, we need to understand what is a file. A file is defined as just content saved in a memory location. A content saved in a memory location. You can think of a file. A simple file can be a text document. Word document that we have seen is a file too. Word is a file too. Excel is a file too. And there are many. And if you need to see more files, you can just go on to Windows Explorer. So files and folders are seen here on Windows Explorer. When you go to Windows Explorer, everything that you see here in C drive you have files or folders. Now the difference between files and folder can have many files and folders, but a file is only one file that has its own contents. For example, if I go here, do I see any file here? There is no file. These are all folders. So folders are represented by yellow box, and if you go inside, these are all folders. If I go down here, then these are files. So these are files here. This is a file, this is a file, this is a file. And the files are of many different types. Just like here you would see it's a type, files are of many different types. So file is, and what is a file? Basically, if you open any file, it has some data inside. It could be anything. So it's a notepad file. It's a notepad. So file contains, so I'm going to say it contains information. File contains information and is stored on a disk. And is stored on a disk. File contains some information and it is stored on a disk. Now there are many different file types. Files are of many different types. So I'm going to say file types. File types. Files are represented by their extension. Files are represented by their extension. So files are represented by file extension. I mean, that is how computer knows what type of file is it. And there are many different types of file. File each file has a name and a file extension. Just like in real world we have files too, so I have a file sitting here. This is a file, and file has a name too. Now in real world here we can represent files by colors as well. I can have blue colors just for registration forms. I can have another. So basically this is actually a folder. This is a folder here, but a file is just a okay. Each file has a name and an extension. Each file has a name and an extension. So if we look at this file here, this is just a text document. Now if you closely look at the screen, normally extensions are not shown here with the file names. Normally extensions are not shown with the file name. Why? Because file extensions are always hidden. File extensions are always hidden. Now file extension, in order to see the file extension, all you need to do is, in order to see file extension, you need to go to view, and then you need to go to options. So everybody open Windows Explorer on your machine. Open Windows Explorer, go to C drive. Open Windows Explorer, go to computer, and then go to C drive. And then go to Windows folder. And down here, just scroll down and you will see many file names here. But as you can see, these are just file names and extensions are not shown here. So let me see if I can. So here you see these are all files. So this is a file, this is a file, this is a file, this is a file, but extensions are not shown because extension is always separated by a dot sign. Extensions are always separated by a dot sign. So file name, let's say we can take one of the files from here. We can say one file name is Centenroll. It is some system, maybe some system file, but I don't see an extension here. Now extensions are just hidden. All we need to do is to unhide them. Extension, so just like this file name here, just like this file name, all we need to do is to how do you unhide it? You can go to Windows Explorer, and then you can go to view, and then you need to go to options, and within options you need to go to view again, and then within view you need to just go here and say hide extension for known files. So this one, hide extension, just uncheck this. So uncheck this, then you can see the file extension. So now here you will see that all of the files, now you see this .exe, .log, and .log. So file extensions are shown like this. One more time, I'm going to show you. You can go to view.
Or you can go to just click the file name extension. That's it.
Which one?
That you don't have to go to the option. You just can.
Okay, so right here.
Yeah.
Yes, right here. You can have file extension. If you uncheck it. Okay, good. So yes, this is easier actually. You can just go to view, and then you can go to just file extension here. You can check it, and then it will show you file extensions. So file extension. Now, what is the main role of file extension? Files are represented by a file name extension. So files are represented by extensions. Are you there?
Yeah.
You're able to see
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Okay. And good. Okay, now why are we talking about this basics? This is very, very basic about file extension. We need to understand file extension in order to understand file screening and file folder quota system. So now I'm going to start with. So since we do understand file extension, so extension is always this part. After dot sign, this is extension. This is extension, and this is how computer knows what type of file is this. Okay, what was your question? Okay. Now next thing is folder. Folder. A folder is a collection of more folders or files. So folder is a collection of collection of one or more files or subfolders. So folder is a collection of one or more files or folders. It is represented by this yellow icon here. So it is represented. So we do understand now there are in computer there are files and folders, just files and folders. So now here in advanced file and services, the very first topic is file screening. Now what is file screening? File screening is this. So file screening, what it does, with file screening we can block what type of files can be stored on a folder. What type of files can be stored in a folder. For example, if you don't allow music, audio files or movie files to be stored in a certain folder, you can screen that folder. So it is just saying, so screening, just like in real life, you're screening people. I'm saying, okay, people who have master's degree go on this side, people who have bachelor's go on this side. So screening, it's just screening. People with passport go on this side, people without passport. It is just...
You mean you classify them?
Classification, yes, classification actually is another topic right here. Classification also comes, it is kind of classification. But screening is just that I want to block, for example, I have a folder called reports in this organization. And I want people to just store here Word files or Excel files. But I don't want them to store in this AVI file, like movie files, or maybe WAV files, which is audio files. So I don't want people to store any audio or music in this folder. I just want them to store here. So this is called screening. So you can put a screen. So basically what happens is when you apply screening, it works like a net. It works like a net on the folder. As soon as you're trying to store a music file in this folder, it won't allow you. As soon as you're storing a Word file, it will allow you and you'll be able to store it. So screening is just by just going into definition. File screening enables you to use a file name to block users from saving specific files in a specific location. A very simple definition. So here, first topic is file screening. File screening. File screening, it allows us to either block or allow certain type of files, to be stored in a folder. Example is block all movie files. Example, block all movie file and allow all document files. So you can say allow all. Actually, you block movie files, then it will automatically allow the other file. So this is file screening, and we're going to do the practical as well in few minutes. Second one is quotas. Now, why would you want to screen folders? Why would you want to screen folders? Why? Kennedy, can you think of any reason why would we want to screen folders? Why would we need to screen folders?
To have the right files.
Type of file stored in a folder. Yes, this is one thing.
Easy to locate.
Easy to locate. Actually, yes, you know that in this folder only this, but there is a bigger reason. Why do we need to screen folders? Why? Why am I restricting saying, in this class, only these class, people who are in this class will sit here.
To differentiate between the departments.
To differentiate between the types of files. Yes.
Document types.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a movie or could be doc files, could be text file.
Exactly, to differentiate between different type of files.
Don't mix files together.
Do not mix files together as well, but there is a bigger reason. The bigger reason is, guys, because last time we discussed, storage is very expensive for organization. Actually, disks are cheap, but keeping them for 7 years is expensive, right? So we want to keep only legit data in the folders. We don't want to keep people's personal movies and audio files. So basically, you're applying a screening saying that all employees should be using this folder only for official documents, not for their own personal use. So when you are restricting them not to store their personal stuff, that means that now you have to back up a smaller storage as compared to huge big storage. I mean, if you don't screen these folders, then I can bring all my personal stuff and put it inside, right?
But you don't delete these files after 6 years.
Sorry?
You don't delete these files after 6 years.
After 7 years, the companies remove the files. Yes, automatically remove. But then for 7 years, it will be very costly. So we screen these folders in companies just to have employees save only important information in these folders. Now the second one is quotas. Quotas in a real life. What is a quota in real life?
Meet the deadline.
Having some limits on a certain entity or certain things. So quota is exactly the same thing. Quotas are used to limit the use of storage space in servers.
Like to meet the target.
To meet the target, to have less storage, so to have more storage for important stuff. So quotas are used to control the use of storage in a disk. A storage in a disk or a folder. Quotas are of two types. An example, here we can say, example is, here we can say the example is in quotas, example is, we have 3 users in our organization. Let's say Mike, we have Dave, and we have John. So 3 users. One is a VP of that organization, second is a manager, and third is a normal employee. Now what we can do on a reports folder, so the folder name is reports. So let's say this is a folder and the name of the folder is report, or actually the name of the folder is IT department. It's an overall IT department folder. So name of the folder is IT department. We can place quotas on these users. We can say, you know what, Mike has a quota of 500 MB on this. Mike can use 500 MB from this folder. And Dave can only use 300 MB. And all other employees will be able to use only 100 MB. So as soon as 100 MB is reached for John won't be able to use this folder. So this is called a quota system.
Mm-hmm.
So quota system is you can apply limits to different. Now normally we must remember that there are no quotas and no file screening. Anybody can store anything as long as you have access to the folder. You can put anything inside, and you can use as much storage as possible. So you can use quotas when you need, and many organizations use quota system. Why? Because if you don't control the storage, people will be able to dump everything within the file shares. Okay, now since we have quotas here, quotas are of 2 types: soft quota and hard quota. So there is something called soft, meaning soft limit and hard limit. So there is soft quota and hard. Soft quota is that as soon as the limit is reached, user will be given a warning, but user won't be stopped from for using the storage. Hard quota is as soon as the limit is reached, user won't be able to do anything. So here, soft quota is when storage limit is reached, user will be given a warning. User will be given a warning. User will be given a warning, but user will still be able to use the storage. Whereas hard quota is user will be completely stopped from using the storage. Hard quota is when storage quota is reached, to full capacity, user will be given a warning and will be stopped or restricted from using the storage. Using the storage. From using the storage. So we have discussed two things here.
What's the name of the other quotas?
Hard
Hard.
quota.
Hard.
Quota. I mean, it is exactly like anything. So soft quota is I'm getting a warning, but I'm not stopped from using the storage. Hard quota is it's a hard stop. So user won't be able to use that storage anymore. So John won't be able to use more than 100 MB. Dave won't be able to use more than 300 MB. So most of the time for executives we keep soft quota. For everybody else we use hard quota. So that manager the executive shouldn't be stopped. So here this one will be a soft quota, soft. Whereas manager and employee are given hard quota. They can't use more than what they are configured for.
They're
So
given
the soft-
Sorry?
They're given soft. Managers and VP.
Managers and VP. So yes, I mean you can say that managers are also given soft, but here I'm just giving you an example. Yes, so manager VP is given a soft quota, whereas in this organization we're even giving managers a hard quota.
So in that case, in soft quota, he can increase more than 500.
Yes, it can be to any limit.
Yeah.
It can be to any limit. I'm just giving you an example. It can be 2 gigs for a VP, and then let's say maybe 500 for a manager. You can increase it, and we'll see that it's really simple to. So two things. File screening would stop us from saving different type of files, whereas quota is just a limit on a quota. Next thing is server for NFS. Server for NFS. Server for NFS. NFS stands for Network File System. NFS stands for Network File System. Now, server for NFS. This service is specially to create a folder to be accessed from Unix and Linux servers, non-Microsoft servers. So this is
Network file what?
Network File System. So NFS, it stands for Network File System. Now NFS is a file system for Unix or Linux machines. It's not, Windows is NTFS, whereas NFS is for Unix or Linux. So this service is used to have folders, to be accessed from Unix and Linux operating system, Linux servers. That's what it is.
That's from, right? From Unix?
This service is used to have folders to be accessed from, yes, from Unix and now what is Unix and Linux servers? Unix and Linux servers, just like Windows servers, there is another company called Unix and Linux. They make their own operating system. So for all of the new people to IT, just like Microsoft server, Microsoft server is Windows Server operating system. This is Windows Server
Operating system.
and Windows Server started from when? 2000, 2003, 2008, 2012. So Windows servers were 2000, 2003, 2008, 2012, and now going towards 16. And before that it was NT4.
Excuse me, Adnan, why bank use Linux and
Yes.
for server? They don't use Microsoft.
They use Microsoft servers, but their top most important stuff are on Unix servers.
It's more safe. Or
It is
like-
more
oh,
safer, yes.
okay.
It is more secure. They are more safer, but they need more. Not maintenance.
They're more complicated.
They are more complicated. You can say that. Yes, they are more complicated
Harder to
in handling, and plus all of the clients, they are connected with Microsoft. All of the clients are. So most of the clients
They're
are all
expensive.
Windows 7,
They're
Windows.
more powerful.
Um,
They're expensive.